going on, people? What's going on? Just finishing up some settings here. Just need one moment. All right. So how we doing? It's a Tuesday. I have to think about it really hard every single day because it's like one of those things where it's just all the days blend together, so it's difficult to kind of sort those out. It's interesting. All right. So any questions with section 80-2? Don't know how many people are actually watching right now. All right. So I don't know how many people are watching, but I'll kind of at least go over a few from the lesson, and if there's no other further questions, then we'll just kind of call it. So it says, write the given function as a composition of two or more functions, and sometimes we may have to do two or more. The idea is we should be able to write it in such a fashion to where when we break it apart, we're able to plug in successive values to be able to construct it. I know it sounds kind of weird. So, for example, on number 1, when I look at this 2x plus 3 cubed, it looks like this is getting plugged into whatever cubed. So I could actually separate those into two functions. I could say f of x equals 2x plus 3 and g of x equals x cubed. And then if I wanted to write it, I could say I am going to plug in my f function into my g function, because it looks like this is getting plugged into for x. Just remember, that looks like this. And you can write it both ways, but I'm plugging my f function into my g function to be able to construct that. And so this right here, it says write the given function as a composition of two or more functions. So this and this is going to be my answer. It's those two pieces. Any comments or questions on that? Let's look at how is the 3 cubed? Well, we're not just cubing the 3. We're looking at as 2x plus 3 together. And that 2x plus 3 is what's getting plugged into the x cubed. So we're replacing x with 2x plus 3. So if I imagine this x cubed, if I imagine that as parentheses x cubed, well, what's getting plugged in for x is really the 2x plus 3, and it's still being left as cubed. I blocked it with my face. Okay, so if I have x cubed, the way that we should vision that is x cubed that way. So that means inside the parentheses, that's what's getting replaced with the 2x plus 3. Does that answer your question, Jocelyn? Because I might be a little confused on your question. Oh, okay, cool. No worries. All right. So let's look at number 2. So a simple way of writing this one, if I have 7 over x squared minus 1, I could look at this as 7 over x, right? So I can think of it as that, and then what's getting plugged in for x is the x squared minus 1. So I could say my f function is 7 over x, and my g function is x squared minus 1. So then I'm taking the x squared minus 1 and plugging it in for x. So then that's going to be f of g of x. Because if I take this and plug that in, that's going to give me that. And so those are the answers there. Comments or questions on that one? Okay, let's look at number 3. H of x equals the absolute value of 7 minus 3x. So I can think of this as a shell, so as a function, so f of x equals the absolute value of x. And then my g of x, I can think of as 7 minus 3x. So then I'm plugging this into here. So then it's f of g. And that's a way that we can write the composition there. Comments or questions on that one? Okay. Let's look at number 4. So we have h of g of f. So the way that we're going to visualize this is h of g of f of x. So my f function's getting plugged into g, and then that's getting plugged into h. So if I plug my f function into g, so my f function is this, my g function is this, so I'm going to plug this into here, so that's going to give me the square root of negative 2x. Then I need to take this, and I need to plug that into my h. And so if my h function is the absolute value of x, I'm plugging that into h. That means that h of g of f of x equals the absolute value of the square root of negative 2x. Comments or questions on that? Okay. Number 7. What I actually want for number 7 is I want you guys to have the opportunity to go ahead and struggle with that a little bit. And then, because it's a series of, because I have to create this, so how do I take these, the G, the H, the J, the K, and the F to be able to construct that? And it's a good puzzle. Just think of it as like a puzzle. And I want you guys to kind of struggle with that a little bit. And then tomorrow, if you have questions on that, say, hey, let's go over number 7 on the previous one and let's kind of talk about it. It's a really good problem. It's a really good problem. And so a few hints that you should think about is, how do things get plugged in to make that negative, right? So maybe that's not the first thing to make it negative, because if you plug in something else, we have to consider, how do I plug it in to make sure that minus 4 is on the outside, and how we plug it in to make sure that 3 is on the outside. So it's just kind of like, try it out. Give it a try. It's pretty fun. All right. Number 8. It says find the 3 values below the given information. So the first one is f of g of 3. So visualizing that, take 3 and plug it into G. So if I take 3 and I plug it into G, right here, it says 2. So then that means that G of 3 is 2, so now I get f of 2. So I go over where it's 2 for my f function, and that's 4. So equals 4. Comments or questions on that one? Okay. Do you guys want to see another one of those, or do you want me to move on? Okay. Let's move on then. What is going on with my mouse? There we go. All right. Next one, it says find the slope-intercept form of the line parallel to the given line. So the slope-intercept form is the y equals mx plus b form. And it says of the line parallel, so that means that a parallel slope is the same slope as the original line. So in my original line, my slope is -3, so that means my parallel slope is -3. Okay, Jocelyn, I'll go back and I'll do one more. So my equation is y minus y1 equals my m times x minus x1. So that's y plus 5 equals, so that should be plus 2. So -3x minus 6. And then if I subtract the 5, I get y equals -3x minus 11. And so that is going to be my equation of a line. All right, let's go back. Let's do another one. I'll just do the rest of them. So for the next one, it says f of g of -1. So this is saying take -1 and plug that into g. So right here, I'm going to zoom in. It says that my g, where my g is -1, it's going to give me -4. So this g of -1 becomes -4. So the next one, it's asking me, where is f -4? Well, there's no -4 here. There's nowhere to plug it in. So it's undefined. It doesn't exist. And then the last one, it says f of 0. So that means plug in 0 into f. Well, if I plug in 0 into f, it gives me 1. So then I have to take 1 and plug that into f. If I plug 1 into f, I get 3. Yeah, you probably saw that next one, Jocelyn, and you're like, wait a minute. There's no -4. Where does it go? All right. And then number 10. Is determine analytically if these are going to be even or odd. So the odd definition that we need to memorize is going to be, does f of x equal negative f of x? So, sorry, there's a negative inside there. The even definition is, does negative f of x equal f of x? So I wrote the one for even. So f of negative x, that means you plug in a negative in for x. Does that equal a negative in front of my function? So this is going to be 3x squared minus 4 equals, now that negative is going to distribute, so negative 3x squared plus 4. Those are not equal. So because of those not equal, it is not odd. Now let's see if it's even. So f of negative x, you get 3, plug in that negative. Does that equal my original function? And so 3, well, negative squared is just x squared. And those are the same. So therefore, it's even. And for number 11, you guys can give that a shot, but you should get it's odd. All right, any other questions? Any questions on the lesson? Okay, well, excellent. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you for showing up. Good luck on your work. Let me know if you have any questions in Discord. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, be healthy.